Today we are making a yum Southeast Missouri favorite, Kettle beef. We made it carnivore with riced chicken. So if you want to know how to make riced chicken, so you can have your favorite dishes that you used to serve over rice or potatoes, now you can serve it over riced chicken. All right, stay tuned. I've lost 180 pounds with a combination of carnivore, keto, and counting calories. I reached my goal in November of 2022, and over the past year and a half, I've noticed the scale went up about 8 pounds. Let's experiment with carnivore and counting calories and see what improvements I can make. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. To get this started, I'm going to put my crock pots on low. They're both on low. And we are going to use the ground chicken. I've never used anything else. I cook it in my crock pot because in that way I can, I don't have to hang out and hover and be around while I, to do anything. You can definitely cook this in a skillet if you want to, but it is 6:30 in the morning and I am not in the mood to hover around a hot skillet. So this way you can put it on and set it and walk away. So we've got the ground chicken in one on low. And then this one is, I just bought some stew meat. So this is stew meat and we're going to put this on this side. I'm not going to do much seasoning to the chicken. I might put a little salt in it later. But what we're doing is we're mimicking rice. And rice is pretty bland. Well, chicken is bland. So I might sprinkle just a little tiny bit of this farm dust on it. Just a little bit. Hang on. Hasn't been used in a little while, so. Okay, so just a little farm dust. And I'm going to add just a splash of water. Okay, so it's up to about here. So maybe a 1/4 cup of water. I'm just going to add that in there. It just kind of, I don't know, it's just habit. So that's what I do. So on the beef side, I'm going to do the same thing. Add about a 1/4 cup of water, maybe 1/2 cup. This one we're going to put a little more seasoning on. We're not going to be using all the flours and, we're not going to be layering it with onions and mushrooms or any of that stuff. So you're going to have to go in with whatever seasonings you prefer. I'm using farm dust. I'm going to use this browned butter toasted garlic. Now my seasonings are not perfect. So you go in with whatever seasonings is going to make you feel like you've got something good. I'm going to finish this off. There's this was Buttery Steakhouse. Our Walmart's been out of that one. And then, buttery burger blend. Alright. And then the last thing, like I said, there's no onions and mushrooms or anything which I guess they don't really have it in kettle beef. But anyway, I like the onion and garlic flavor. So this is an onion and garlic spice blend that I got at TJ Maxx. So I'm sprinkling some of that on there. And now, I'm going to put this lid on it. And I figure, I come in every hour and I chop it up. That's just how I do all my ground meat. Sometimes my ground meat gets done in 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours. I never really know, but every hour I'm going to come in with my meat chopper, like this, and I'm going to chop it up every hour, and I'll show you how I do that. Okay, so now we're going to come in, and I use my chopper. And I just come in and chop it every hour. And that's it. So I know sometimes people are like, well, but that's time consuming to come in and do it every hour. Well, considering I'm doing this instead of standing over a hot stove for 15, 20 minutes to get it all cooked, I would much rather do this. You don't have to chop it. I prefer it to... hang on, I'm trying to get that junk off there. Anyway, I prefer to come in and do this every hour. And then that gives me now the next hour to just do what I want to do. And this one I'm not messing with, so it's just going to stay there. But every hour I'll come in and chop that up. It's been another hour, so it's been a total of 2 hours. And I just come in. Like I said, you don't have to do this step. I just do it because I like to make sure it's not one big chunk of meatloaf. I don't want a chicken loaf. I want it to be ground chicken. And so you can see just in that hour that it was starting to clump up and become one big chunk. So I do this. So this 30-second action that I'm doing, now I get to go sit down or cook or do whatever else for another hour. So I just do this every hour until it's done. So it's been 2 hours. All right, I'll see you in another hour. Okay, let's take a look here. I don't know how many hours it's been, but it sure looks good. In the end, when we're going to use this, we're actually going to finish it up in the skillet to get out a lot of this liquid. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out and get it set up. Hang on. All right, so from here you can do it kind of how you want. I don't want to use my big colander, so I'm actually going to turn this off, and this will keep on going because I haven't even looked at it, but I'm sure it needs to go longer. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and work on scooping out the chicken, and we're going to get it drained. So I'll be back after I get it all scooped out, and then we're going to just store it in the refrigerator until it's time for us to make our rice. We're making riced chicken. You can use this for so many things whenever you make it. I've made rice chicken with like an Asian pork something. You can make it with just anything you'd use rice or potatoes for. And, it's just really it's a thing that gives you good rice texture. Well, again, we are not at the stage of where it is at rice yet. This is just cooked stage. We still have the other stage to go. But like I said, right now I'm just pulling it out so that way I can just set it aside and wait till I'm ready to use it. You could add some water to this. I've been kind of under the weather lately. So this broth, I could add some water to it and sip around on it. I would say give it to the dogs, but I have added a little bit of seasoning to it, that farm dust seasoning. So I don't like to give my dogs a bunch of spices. So anyway, so all right, I'm gonna set this in the refrigerator just like this, and let this sit in there until this is done. We'll check on that in a little while. To keep it a little more even, I actually went ahead and set just like a little clear dish in there, so that kind of holds it up. Like I said, I'm just trying to keep this out of the juice, so that way, it just helps the liquid drain out as much as possible. So you saw all till now, everything's been super easy. Just use a crock pot and put your ground chicken in it, put your beef in it, and just let it go. That literally is the easy part. Now we're going to turn our ground chicken into riced chicken. So I'm going to heat up this skillet. I just put a little ghee in there. So that way, because like I said, we're going to take this riced, I call it riced chicken. I need to get all this out of the way. I call it riced chicken. And we are going to brown it. But we got to let the skillet heat up and the butter or ghee to melt. And also, while this is cooking, we're going to pull the meat out of the juice, and we're going to reduce the meat down also and make it into a gravy. So I'll come back as soon as this skillet has heated up. So you need to think of this as a side dish because you're going to have the beef going. So, think about, okay, how much rice does a person usually eat whenever they have something like that? So I'm thinking maybe like 2 cups of rice. So I'll do the same thing for the ground chicken. So we'll leave it at that right there. And so now we are just going to heat this up. and we're just going to brown it. Basically, we are drying this out. We're drying out the chicken. We're going to make 2 servings today. And so this is already cooked, so there's no cooking involved. We are just wanting to dry it out a little bit. And when it's done, the texture's rice. The taste is light, so it takes on whatever texture you use. I've done this with Alfredo. I've made pork, like Asian pork before, glazed pork. I've done all kinds of things with it, but I just haven't done like a kettle beef types of thing. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to divide this out, and I will freeze this in the state it is in now. I'm not going to dry it out and then freeze it, because while it's frozen, it's going to get crystallized and wet, and all the work that you would have done would be for nothing because you'll have to do it again. So I will go on and freeze this leftover, and then I can use it for whatever else I want it to. I don't have to use that for rice. I can pour an Alfredo on it, or make an Alfredo, or have it with whatever else I want to do with it. I can use this as rice chicken later, or I can use it as something else. So I'll portion this out, and I'll kind of do that while this is cooking. So I'll be back in a few minutes. I went ahead and strained out and separated the meat from the leftover gravy. So we're going to put this in a skillet and reduce it. Give me just a second. This is messy. Okay, so now this is where it's going to be a little bit controversial, because while I would need some kind of liquid to put in here, and oh wait a minute, I could use some unflavored protein powder. It's all right. I'm not going to. I don't have any unflavored. I recently bought some Equip protein powder, but I just didn't buy unflavored. I have unflavored Isopure, but and that's fine to use. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and use. I've got a little bit of this glucomannan. This is actually cognac root, and so hang on. Yeah, it's from the cognac root. So yes, this is a plant-based food item, but and I'm also going to use. So again, you do what's best for you. I'm breaking rules here. Also, what I'm going to add is a little bit of something called shiitake mushroom powder. Just a little bit of it, just to kind of thicken it up a little bit. Not a lot. If you have trouble with the things like this, don't add them. I'm telling you, don't add them. You do what's going to work best for you. If they're not going to work okay for you, then please do not add them. Otherwise, you can just add heavy cream, or you can add some maybe yogurt if you do yogurt, or whatever it is that you do. We all have our physical limitations of what we can and cannot do. So if you can and cannot do that, then please don't do it. But like I said, I just want to thicken my gravy up a little bit. So that's what I'm going to put in there, and I'm just going to let that kind of simmer. And I'm going to have to use a different one, because that one, well, it's all right. So I don't know if you can see, but my chicken is starting to brown, and it's starting to dry out a little bit. Do you see that? Like I said, I want the texture to be like rice, because we are going to have carnivore, mostly. Carnivore kettle beef over riced chicken. So, alright, so let me let this go. I'm going to let this go a couple more minutes, but I just kind of keep stirring, because you want all the surface to get against this hot skillet. Let me turn temperature up, or timer. You want all the surface of the meat to get against the skillet, because what it's doing, it's creating that Maillard reaction, as Chef Jean-Pierre calls it. You're wanting a Maillard reaction, and so you're just browning your meat and getting as much of that moisture out of that chicken as possible. Because in essence, your chicken was boiled in the crock pot. So now your goal is to get out all that liquid so it turns into a riced texture. There's still going to be some clumps in it, some thicker, but over time, you just kind of mush around with it, and in the end, you're going to have a good rice textured product. So, whoa. I'm going to keep doing this, and I will be back in a few minutes. Okay, the gravy is pretty bland. It definitely needs salt. What I'm going to add to mine, and again, I know I'm doing mine I'm skirting on the edges. I like this stuff called tomato and chicken bouillon. It's got tomato bouillon in it, and just to kind of give it a tangy flavor. And so I'm putting that in there along with the salt. Let's see if that gives it a better, stronger flavor. And then I'm going to turn this way down. I'm going to put my meat in there, but let's give it a taste first. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness, yeah. I don't know if you can tell how much more brown our chicken is. I don't want it burned, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. And see how it just kind of slides around? See how dry that is? That's what you're looking for. You're wanting a very dry texture. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the beef back to our gravy. Oh, I think I may have spilled a little bit, but it'll be all right. It'll be all right. So this is going to be kettle beef over riced chicken, and I'm going to have to get 2 servings out of it for myself. And now, let's get some plated up. It's going to be yum, yum. Well, not yet. I'm going to cover this and let it kind of simmer for a couple minutes so I can heat the meat back up. So I'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, let's plate it up, baby. Let's give me some. It's going to be good stuff, Maynard. So now I'm going to take half of this. See how it just slides around? That is called riced chicken. So I'm going to take half of it and put it down in my bowl. And I'll save the other half and I'll put that in a container. I'm going to show you all this texture. Look. See how dry and loose that is? You could take it, you could do more if you chose to, but I'm just right. I'm just right with it. Let me swap sides here. And now, let's get our kettle beef and gravy on. Ooh, my goodness, my goodness. Carnivore. Well, you can make it carnivore. Kettle beef over riced chicken. Tell me that ain't gonna be good, y'all. All right, come on, let's go have a bite. All right, let's taste the fruit of our labor. Look at that. We've got our kettle beef on top and our rice chicken underneath there. Doesn't that look good, good, good? All right, we're gonna give it a try. Get a big old bite of meat. You betcha. Now, some people would say that that the shiitake is carnivore because it's a fungus. I don't know. That's controversial. So you do what's best for you. But leave that out and leave out the glucomannan, and you got yourself a kettle beef with riced chicken. And so I'll show you the chicken There's the little, so just little pieces of riced chicken. So many things you can do with that. You got the texture of rice, and anything you would have put mashed potatoes over, or put over mashed potatoes or over rice, you can definitely use chicken. So there you go, guys. That is what I made today. Thanks for watching.